Shedeur Sanders is one of the most polarizing quarterbacks in the entire NFL, with one crowd of people thinking he's a really good quarterback who's in an awful situation, and another group of people who think Shedeur is just flat out bad. So I want to dive in the film and see, is Shedeur Sanders a good quarterback in a terrible situation, or is Shedeur Sanders not even good enough to be a starter in the NFL? Let's dive into the film. As always on this channel, we're going to start off with the good because I never want to come across like I'm bashing a player, but I want to be as objective as possible and give y'all my in-depth analysis for every single quarterback across the NFL. So right here, we're going to be running a double cross concept. I want you to primarily pay attention to the two red routes right here, right? We're trying to attack man coverage with this because this is what it looks like pre-snap with the Tennessee Titans. We end up seeing they're actually playing some version of match because this nickel defender right here doesn't end up actually guarding his man. He stays in a hook, and instead, this one high safety ends up taking that receiver once he runs into his window, and all match is a version of zone coverage, but instead of spot dropping, meaning we're getting to a specific spot, we're taking the player that runs in our zone, if that makes sense. And here you're going to see Jerry Jeudy do a really good job of ultimately beating his DB one-on-one on the outside here. He's trying to give heavy inside leverage, push him to the outside. You see Jerry Jeudy swats down that hands, gets to the inside, stair climbs him, right? So he straightens up, leans into him a little bit, and then breaks away over the middle. And what I really want to look at here with Shedeur is watch this anticipation, right? As soon as he gets past his hook defender, ball is out, and he's anticipating it right in this window and allows Jerry Jeudy to stay in stride and pick up a touchdown right here, and that's a great ball. Right here, I want you to pay attention to Shedeur changing the play. You see, when we put Isaiah Bond in motion here, it tells us they got man coverage on the back end because 26 follows him across the formation. Now, it does look like they ultimately end up changing that, if you see here, because he points him over. We're still going to be in man, but he's going to be taking the inside receiver, and his outside corner is going to be taking the outside receiver. That's really good for us because now we're going to have, once again, another double cross, double post concept, whatever you want to call it, where we're trying to read this safety right here. So we're trying to make him choose one. Either he takes the underneath when he beats his man across the field and we hit the post on top of him, or he backs up, plays his true one high roll back here, and we take the crosser underneath him and try to get a big game versus man coverage. Like I said, we know it's man because he follows him across the formation, but what we actually see here is they were actually disguising a blitz. So this safety is actually going to be playing man on this tight end right here, and they're passing everything off, right? This is a number system, right? So he's going to take his guy, and then they're numbering off whoever goes outside, this guy's taking. That would be the running back. And whoever goes inside, the safety's taking right here, and that's so they can send a blitz through the middle. Shedeur hangs in there and throws a perfect ball in the post right there. And that's all him because, like I mentioned, pre-snap with the motion right here, he's saying run a post, we have man, you're going to beat him, right? We get to this concept right here, and then we're beating him over the middle with that throw. And that's a heck of a football, especially considering he's standing in here and he's taking a lick from a linebacker, right? Great ball right there by Shedeur. A route he's really good at throwing is those posts over the middle of the field. And this is going to be a post-wheel concept. Really love this against cover 4. And that's what it seems like the 49ers are in here. And we know this because we're kind of getting them being flat in the secondary, right? You would describe it as an umbrella most of the time, right? This type of look right here. You see they're kind of forming one, but this guy's buzzed down a couple steps, so we don't know. Maybe they're trying to disguise cover 3, and we're going to get back, down, back, but looks like they're in some type of cover 4 here, and that's really good for us because our goal as this outside receiver right here, I believe this is Jerry Jeudy, is to ultimately close the space but target the inside shoulder of this DB so that we can take both this player and this player out of the play so that Will can open up behind him. And you see, it's going to look like he's just running a normal out. This linebacker's going to drift back, and then he's going to turn it into a wheel. And even if this linebacker were to take him, we'd just be able to work our eyes down to the flat and get the ball out for an easy first down. Instead, cover 4 beater works to perfection with the post wheel, right? He takes both of the DBs out of the play, and Harold Fannin screaming wide open down the sideline right there for an easy touchdown. Looks like we've got man coverage again right here, just based on the leverage. We're inside. We're not trying to give up anything over the middle. We're trying to force them to take something to the outside and make him make a good throw. But we've got head-up leverage across the board. One high look right here looks to be cover 1. So we're going to change his launch point. That's something this Browns offense tried to do a lot last season. And then we're going to ultimately just allow our receiver to have space to win. So we're going to make this receiver out here, Jerry Jeudy, get really tight to the sideline so that Cedric Tillman has all this room to work, and he can also stay away from this safety, right? So heck of a football there. Great anticipation by Shedeur. You see, this ball is out of his hand right here before we've even made our break. So that's a great job anticipating the throw. I mean, there's a bunch of potential when you look at some of Shedeur's clips. It's the head scratchers and things of that nature that you look at sometimes where you're like, man. Here on this next one, though, we're going to ultimately have a seam right here by I believe this is Isaiah Bond. It looks to me like they're heavy outside, high up here, and then heavy outside up here. That would imply that we have some type of cover 3, and that would be very normal to go from this double mug look to drop back into cover 3 and get someone over the middle, one of these guys dropping out over the middle right here and dropping out right here. But instead, they're trying to confuse us. They're going to ultimately end up rotating to a too high look right here, we're going to ultimately see. And the problem with the too high look out of this is this whole player, this Mike right here, who's in charge of the Tampa 2 seam right here, right? You're in charge of this entire deep part of the middle of the field, is he's got to just turn and run. Well, he's a linebacker. And the problem with that is when he's got a receiver lined up on him right here in the slot running the seam, it's very difficult for him to get back, right? And because they disguise this, Kevin Byard just having to leave the middle of the field so quickly that Shedeur can get his eyes to the middle, and all he has to do is throw this ball with anticipation, lead it to the middle of the field, and throw it further than this linebacker, and the linebacker has no chance because he's not fast enough, right? And that's a heck of a football, perfect spot you want that ball to be, and you just see how good he is with some of the anticipatory things, at least in his good clips, right? It seems like when he knows what the defense is in, and he's able to dictate what his receivers are doing, he is very, very successful. And you're going to see another example of this right here. On this play, you're going to see that Shedeur Sanders checks us into a man-beating concept, primarily what would be considered, once again, a post-wheel concept. The goal right here is to get this post and run across the field from this DB. And what we're trying to do with this post is make this safety make a decision. Either he stays in the middle and guards the post, or we have a low-risk throw where we can put the ball over the shoulder for our tight end or receiver right here to make the catch on a DB isolated one-on-one on the outside. And that's exactly what Shedeur Sanders is going to do, and he's going to throw an incredible football right here to Harold Fannin, right? And that's why I described him as tight end / receiver, because that's really what Harold Fannin is. And Shedeur puts a heck of a football. There's so much potential with Shedeur Sanders, but there's just so much bad as well. And unfortunately, that's what I have the rest of this video to talk about. It's the bad. It's the super, super inconsistent Shedeur Sanders that throws a lot of interceptions, looks down at the O-line a lot, and just is not a good, consistent quarterback that you'd want in a franchise quarterback. A great example of this is this play right here. We're trying to ultimately flood the field side over here, and that's simply what it is. It's a flood concept, right? We've got the deep out or corner. We have the corner route right here, about a 10-yard corner, and then we've got a flat route from our other tight end, and we're just trying to read this corner right here, number 35, right? When he widens out, 35 is right here. When he widens out, we look at his hips. If his hips are flipped and he's running back like he is right now, we hit our tight end in the flat, pick up an easy first down because we need about 6 yards to pick up a first down. If his hips are square to the line of scrimmage, right, if he stays parallel to the line of scrimmage and he stays in this flat down here, then we layer the football over the top. But you see Shedeur Sanders right here. He has made up his mind pre-snap. I'm throwing this football. He's trusting his arm to make this throw, even though this corner showed him immediately that he was turning and running on anything in this 15-yard window because he knows exactly how the Browns are trying to attack him, and Shedeur throws a really, really bad interception there. Not a terrible football. It's just a terrible read that makes it a near impossible throw for him to make without throwing an interception right there. And that's just something he can't do, and that's something that's going to continue to show up over here as he really struggles on those deep corner routes because he just doesn't have the arm talent to make the throws. Right here, we're going to motion over, see that no one follows Fannin across the formation, and we've got a corner on him. That tells us we've most likely got zone coverage, and we're going to have a bench concept right here, right? Exact same thing as the flood concept we just watched, but instead of the running back being out in the flat, we've just got a 2-receiver route right here where we're trying to once again pick on this flat defender. If he stays down, we work the deep corner. If he flips those hips and turns, then we hit the quick out to Jerry Jeudy. Right here, let's read his hips. He's going to stay down right here. We have to fire this football outside to the corner. We've got to drive it in underneath this safety, but over the top of this corner. Difficult throw, but it's one that he is capable of making. And you see here, he just throws a really bad football, right? And thankfully for us, it's a touchdown. But if Kyle Duggar reads this ball at all, that's an interception. And at best, he gets lit up right there, right? But instead we just lose track of the football from the safety position. Ends up being a touchdown, looks really good on the stat sheet, but anyone honestly looking at the tape right there is like, that is a bad throw. On this next one, we're going to have yet again another play that looks really good on the stat sheet. Doesn't really look that bad on broadcast, but when you turn on the film, you would love a better football from Shedeur Sanders. We're going to have a China concept called up right here as the Cleveland Browns, which is pretty much just 2 short routes to hold up these two flat defenders right here, and then we want to ultimately use all of this open space here on the outside to win the one-on-one matchup in the slot with the safety who has inside leverage because he's not trying to let anything break across his face. And Shedeur Sanders does a great job reading this play out, understanding what's supposed to get open right here, and we've got to put this football close to the back pylon, and Shedeur Sanders just unfortunately doesn't do a good job of that right here. Harold Phantom makes a heck of a catch mossing this DB, but we've just got to help him out right here, in my opinion. On this next play right here, there are a couple different things I want you to pay attention to, and I think Shedeur actually does a good job for the most part on this play. Once again, processing it, understand what the defense is giving him, but I think he once again throws a lackluster football, and that's just something that pops up continuously on his film, is he just doesn't have that elite NFL accuracy and touch quite yet. The Bears are going to be in a too high safety middle field open look right here, right? So we're kind of guessing this is either cover 2, cover 4. They're tight to the middle of the field, so that's kind of telling us cover 4 right here, especially with this outside corner being about 9 yards off. But I want you to look at the corner to the boundary side right here, to the weak side of the formation. And what you notice with him right here is he's actually pressed, eyeing the quarterback and the receiver at the same time, which tells us he's probably in a flat. So what we have to do as a quarterback here is process post-snap. 1, do we have zone coverage? Yes. If we do have zone coverage post-snap, is it cover 6, right? And all cover 6 is quarter, quarter, half, right? So we're going to split the field in half, and to the strong side of the formation, we've got cover 4. To the weak side of the formation, to the boundary right here, we're going to have cover 2, right? So he's going to have a flat, he's going to have a deep half. And what you're trying to do here, the reason this route is read by Jerry Jeudy, is you're going to try to hit the hole shot to beat cover 2. And if you have cover 4 here on the other side of your screen, you got to get this ball out quick to whichever one of these two receivers is open on the curl pattern right here, right? And watch Shedeur Sanders right here. 1, if we work this side, we see that we have the curl quick. If we want to throw it, ball's got to get out of our hands now, because if not, you see he's going to drive down. Both these safeties are going to drive down over the top as well. So he resets to the backside, sees that he's going to have his whole shot. He has to put this football high and outside. It has to be about right here. Instead, he drives it in there, and when he drives it in there, it's unfortunately going to be a pick. I don't blame him for this being a pick. It's really, really unfortunate that they ended up picking this ball off. But we have to give Jerry Jeudy a chance by putting this football high and outside. You want to put it at this 2-yard line on the ticks. Let Jerry Jeudy catch it and also protect himself at the same time. Just not a good football here by Shedeur. Okay, but I want to get off the bad footballs for a second here, and I want to look at a play only from the end zone view right here. Not going to draw anything up really. I just want to show you we're going play action. We're faking mid-zone to the left, and we're letting our tight end block up the backside. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to hit a dig in over the middle of the field on top of the linebackers with Jerry Jeudy. So we're getting the linebackers to draw in on the hard play action right here. Shedeur does a great job selling it here, in my opinion. And we've got to hit Jerry Jeudy either in this first window, or we have to hitch up in the pocket, make sure we get the ball out quick enough, though, where we can get it in this second window past the linebacker, but before pass rushers start to get home. I would love for him to trust that Jerry Jeudy is going to win this route at the top, put this football right here, right now, get the ball out of your hand, pick up an easy first down. Shedeur doesn't like it, though. He wants to wait till he gets past this linebacker. I just think when we wait like that, we're putting a lot of struggle on our offensive linemen, especially knowing that we have 2 tight ends blocking 2 edge rushers on the backside. So I think this is a concept where Shedeur has to get this ball out of his hands really, really quick, but he doesn't trust Jerry Jeudy at the top of his route, which is a mistake in my opinion, especially because Jerry Jeudy is a good separator. He may drop the football, but he is going to separate at the top of a route, especially with this much room to work with. So I think Shedeur just has to put a better football out here by getting it out of his hand quicker. Okay, on this next one right here, once again, we've got to process what is the defense in pre-snap. We see middle field is closed. They have 1 high safety. He's favoring the strong side of the formation, which tells us we probably have zone coverage, especially because 26, the corner is lined up out here on a running back. So once we know we have cover 3, we're going to be working the weak side of the field right here because we like our matchup against cover 3 to have 4 verticals to this side of the field. Why do we like this so much? Because we can hit our receiver up here, up the seam, if we anticipate this football and drive it right here, or what we can do is let him pull both the safety and the hook defender out of the play, and then we get one-on-one on the backside right here, and we just got to throw a good football to our receiver and give him a chance on a 50-50 ball, right? But what Shedeur ends up doing here is when he gets to his back foot, he's getting the ball out of his hand at a good time here, in my opinion. He just underthrows it and doesn't give his guy a chance, right? I like the the processing here. I do think in this situation, I would love to just drive the seam in right here just because we have such a good shot of hitting it in these conditions specifically where 25 is on this side of the field, right? Anytime he's playing to the field side right here and we have an easy throw to the boundary, I would just love to hit that, drive it in there, trust that your receiver is going to win on that route. But I never mind a one-on-one fade ball. We've just got to put a better football on him. Right here on this next, we're going to motion Jerome Ford out. When we motion Jerome Ford out, you see we get man coverage. He's checking at the line of scrimmage right here. And the reason he's checking at the line of scrimmage is because he's good with his concept that's called up on the field right here. We've got a man-beating concept right here, and he's just making sure his protection's good up front. The reason we love this concept so much is because we're going to be able to work all this open space in the middle of the field if they do send this blitz, and we're going to do this by creating a natural high-low read concept on this safety, right? If he drives down on this crosser over the middle of the field, we throw the post. If he stays back and guards the post, we throw the quick slant, crosser, whatever you want to call it, and it ends up getting, I would say, pretty open. I mean, we kind of flush out the pocket here, but I think this is a throw that we are capable of making right here if we aren't so quick to get out of the pocket. But instead, we roll out. We as Shedeur Sanders right here have to realize there is nothing over here on this side of the field for us to throw. We need to throw this football away. Instead, he thinks he's more athletic than he is, tries to get away, and ends up taking a really, really bad sack, kicking us out of field goal range right there. We're going to have a Yankee concept called up. And I love this play against man coverage. Unfortunately for us here, it looks like they're in cover 4. Outside leverage with both the corners, eyes facing the quarterback, 2 safeties in the middle of the field. So we got middle of the field open right here, and they're both tight to one another, pretty much right on the hashes. That would imply cover 4. We're running a hard play action concept against it right here. So what we have to do with this is once these linebackers step up to guard against the run, we've got to fire it in to Jerry Jeudy in this window right here. Shedeur's eyes are in the wrong place here, in my opinion. Kind of looks like they're looking at this post, but that's okay. Hang in the pocket, wait on him to come across the formation, throw with some anticipation, and you'll pick up a big completion that he can maybe even turn up the field and score a touchdown on. But instead, Shedeur tries to roll out of the pocket right here, realizes it was going to get wide open, tries to throw off his back foot 50 yards across the field late, and we end up throwing a terrible interception. And this is something that I would have benched him for immediately if I was the head coach or the OC. One, because what are you doing dropping your eyes looking at the D-line and trying to scramble out, especially when we know nothing is going to be open on this side of the field? The only route that we even have coming to this side of the field is a 50-yard post that we're not going to be able to throw on the run, right? So at worst, we're throwing the football away. Hang in the pocket, trust that your receivers are going to get open and hit them. Unfortunately, we're just not doing that, and that is not good. But right here, we've got, once again, another great job of just trying to exploit this safety when they're giving us middle of the field close, right? Once again, looks like we got cover 3 right here, right? Corners both outside leverage, eyes on the quarterback. So what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to have a man beating concept and a zone beating concept built into this play. We just have to read it differently based on which one we get. If this is man coverage, we really, really like our odds with this post and this curl right here because we're going to be able to once again high-low this safety if it's man coverage. If it's zone coverage, we want to read the strong side of the formation and we want to work curl to flat to curl. And the reason we want to do this is because we're going to create a natural pick right here, and we're kind of just reading what this defender does. If he takes the curl, we hit the flat quick now. If he instead takes the flat instantly, we're getting the curl as he wraps this defender. We see here that this safety is going to try to drive on it once he wraps the linebacker right here. I think we should hitch up in the pocket like he does here, and we should fire this post because, like I said, we're trying to high-low this middle of the field safety right here. Instead, Shedeur is going to go to flush himself out of the pocket, go to run, realize it's open, and throws late, and he doesn't even drive the football. He kind of just leaves it hanging up, and that's just a really bad throw, and we're really fortunate that football doesn't get picked off yet again. That's just not a good look right there. Here you see we're going to motion over to a bunch look right here, and when we get to this bunch look, we're once again trying to beat man coverage, and that's going to probably work out really well for us just because of how the 49ers like to defend bunch. They're going to play press head-up leverage right here on the point receiver, and they're going to banjo over the top of it. So he's going to take the inside guy, he's going to take the outside guy. So we're going to run a double cross concept right here where we're really trying to once again high-low this middle of the field safety. If he drives down, we take over the top. If he stays high, we take the underneath. And our eyes just have to be right here, trusting that someone's going to get open over the middle of the field. Looks to be Jerry Jeudy right here, but our eyes are in the wrong spot. I don't know what we're really looking at, but we do a good job resetting to Jerry Jeudy. He takes this thing vertical because he sees that safety clear out. We've just got to put the football on him. That's all we got to do. And we throw a terrible, terrible pass right there. And that's just very, very unfortunate to see, especially from a guy who's supposed to be a franchise quarterback like I keep mentioning. Once again on this next play, we're going to have a high-low cross concept yet again. And let's see how Shedeur Sanders does with it. Once again, Jerry Jeudy creating separation in the middle of the field. We have to throw this football high and away, put it close to the first down marker right here. Don't give this flat defender a chance to get to it. Instead, what does Shedeur Sanders do? He doesn't trust that he can make the throw. That's okay. Let's get out of the pocket, hit our check down right here, or throw the football away, right? Live to fight another day. Instead, what does Shedeur do? Shedeur is going to drop back in the pocket, make a guy miss. You're saying, okay, let's make some magic happen. Receivers are coming back down the field, working scramble drill. Okay, if we want to hit him, we just got to drive this football right here. Keep it low, make sure either he gets it or it's an incompletion in the middle. Instead, what does Shedeur do? He lofts it up, overthrows his guy by 10 yards, and we throw a terrible, terrible interception right there. That's just something that we absolutely cannot do, and that's something you don't want to ever see happen. Here, we motion our tight end across the formation. That tells us we got zone coverage. So what are we doing? We're working hard play action, trying to get these linebackers to flow downhill, and once we get them downhill, we're going to hit this drift route, or bang gate, whichever one you want to call it, right in behind those linebackers. But I want you to pay attention to on this play, and I don't know if Shedeur's being coached to do this or what, but I want you to see how bad he does really selling this play action right here. Watch. He's already getting his head turned around over 2 yards away from his running back right here. That is completely unacceptable on a play that is designed to pull the linebackers in so that we can hit a bang gate on top of them and underneath the safety. We've got to really sell this, get this ball into the back's belly almost, and then throw the bang gate in behind him. We do a great job getting our head around quick, but we need to really prioritize selling this fake so that these linebackers are forced to bite in tighter and we can get this ball out right here. But instead, we turn our head so early that we get to this back foot way before the route gets open, which tells the safety, Kevin Byard, one, that he can drive on it, and tells these linebackers that they need to get back quick, and that allows 48 to make a heck of a play on the football. And yes, defensive guys get paid too, but we have absolutely got to do a better job selling the fake with the play action so that we can hit those quick bang gate type of routes over the middle of the field. Right here, we're going to motion in Harold Fanning, get him to this stack look right here, and once again, we're high-lowing the safety on a very similar concept to what we had a few plays ago, right? We've got the deep curl, and then we got the post going on top of it. And if they're in cover 4, which they kind of look to be in here, right? We've got this umbrella look right here from the secondary. If they are in that, we need to know that we can get to our check downs quick, right? One of the quick flats, let's put ourselves in field goal range right here. We're at about the 37-yard line, so we're technically in it, but making it a 33-yarder would never kill us, right? Just don't take a bad sack here on 3rd and 15 at the 37-yard line. And you will never guess what Shedeur Sanders does. He wants something deep down the field. The 49ers obviously aren't going to give it to him because they're in cover 4. He needs to work curl to check down, hit his check down, get to about the 30 or 29-yard line. Instead, we try to pull a Houdini back here, trying to hit our signature spin move, spin into 3 guys, and get sacked instantaneously, taking us out of field goal range, and we have to punt this football. I think Kevin Stefanski did a great job designing up plays in this 49ers game, and I think the Browns probably should have won it if Shedeur didn't play such a bad football game. Here, I want to take one look at a quick game right here. I think one of the most important things for a quarterback in the NFL to be able to do is execute quick game and understand how to ultimately execute these read key defender type plays in quick game, right? So we're reading this linebacker or this linebacker, whichever one drops into this hook right here. And our responsibility with him is to say, if he guards this curl or hitch, whichever one you want to call it, then we are going to get to the flat quickly and throw it. If he gets out to the flat quick, then we have to throw this curl in behind him, but we need to make sure we know which decision he's making at all times. Shedeur right here sees his head turn this direction and instantly goes to throw in the curl, ends up throwing a really bad interception. He has to look at his hips because the hips can't lie, see that his hips are settled right here and he's not driving. And as soon as we see that, we have to get to our flat quick. I will say though, I also don't love working this concept to a 2 receiver side when they are in this 4-3 front where they've got the jack walked up on the ball right here because he can drop into this hook and it allows 45 to also play the hook as well. It's just really not a high percentage throw when we're ultimately throwing this concept to that type of look defensively. Okay, we got one more bench concept right here. This time looks like we've got man coverage just because we're getting head up leverage on everybody across the board. So the goal right here on a bench concept concept against man coverage is one, we want to read the pick. Do we get a natural pick right here by Jerry Jeudy at the top of your screen? If we do, we hit David Njoku quick on the out. If there is no pick at all, we let Jerry Jeudy work with all this space. We have to anticipate a good football to the outside right here, put it on the tick, make sure either he catches it or no one catches it, and let's see what Shedeur does right here. Okay, we're reading it out. Jerry Jeudy is in a great position to win on this route right here. He has closed the space on the DB. He's gotten even with him. He's about to break out. We need to put this football on the outside. What does Shedeur do? He drops those eyes, looks right here, thinks he has to make a move in the pocket, tries to make a move, gets out of one sack instead of throwing the football away, ends up taking a sack from the very next guy, and that's something that just, in my opinion, is unacceptable. These last couple plays right here, I just want to take a look at how bad of a job Shedeur Sanders does keeping two hands on the football within the pocket. As a quarterback coach, this is something I find really, really important, is that a quarterback is protecting the football in the pocket at all times, and this simply is not that. We are holding the football every which way, making it really easy for a defender to just come and bat it out of our hands, and that's exactly what's going to happen on these next two. Trying to make a move, don't have two hands on the football, gets knocked out. Thankfully, our lineman gets it, but that's just something that happened over and over again. Here's going to be another clip of it, right? We're trying to escape up through the B gap. Football, got one hand on it. Trey Hendrickson comes and punches it out yet again. So overall, after going through all the film, I think Shedeur Sanders does have potential. He really does. I mean, he can make some really, really impressive throws when he understands what the defense is giving him and how his route concept can beat that defense. But at the same time, I'm seeing too inconsistent of a quarterback. I'm seeing a quarterback who struggles to make the high difficulty throws on deep corners, throwing to the field side. I'm seeing a quarterback that drops his eyes a lot and runs himself into sacks instead of continuing to go through his progression. I'm seeing a quarterback who, when he's late to things, instead of understanding I'm late, I missed it, he forces the ball into windows he absolutely just can't throw the football into, and that's something that I ultimately scouted with him before he was drafted coming out of Colorado. I said he trusts his athleticism and his arm strength too much, forces the ball into tight windows of throws he just will not be able to make at the NFL level, and I got that exactly right. Now, by no means am I a Shedeur hater. I'm rooting for him. I just think the Browns are going to end up going with Deshaun Watson this season because I don't think Shedeur Sanders put enough on tape. Let me know down below what you think, and see ya.